Hello, and you're very welcome to the Women's Rugby Pod. I'm Johnnie Hammond, and we have an unbelievable show for you in this mini Olympic series, part 2 of that series, and it is a bumper packed show after an incredible end of Olympic sevens. Of course, New Zealand, the Black Ferns, running out winners, beating France, Fiji grabbing the bronze over Team GB. I've just got we've got 3 guests for you today. 2 captains, co-captain of the USA team, Abby Gustaitis, is joining us on the pod, and just what it means to be the whole part of the USA Olympic machine. Wait to hear about the amount of stash that she got. We've got Jasmine Joyce, who was in team of the tournament, wasn't she? One of the top try scorers as well. Had an excellent showing out in Tokyo. Jasmine Joyce tells us about the journey that Team GB went on and what an incredible 12 months they have had. And last but not least, we have New Zealand's flag bearer, their captain, and now gold medalist to go with a silver from Rio. It is Sarah Hierney coming up on the show. But first of all, let's get into that chat with Jasmine Joyce. I caught up with the little Welsh Bristol wizard earlier on. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Jazz Joyce of Bristol Bears, of Wales, of course, and of course Team GB. Back from Tokyo. Jazz, thanks so much for joining us. How are you? How's the last 3 days been for you? Where are the emotions right now?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, lots of different emotions. I think 2-3 days isn't long enough to kind of get over what's just happened, but I think it gives us a little bit of time to reflect about actually the bigger picture and what we've actually achieved being out there, rather than kind of the initial 4th place loss. Yeah, there's a lot more that we wanted to do, which I think we've achieved, such as Inspiring a Nation, loads of little girls. I think all of us have had hundreds and hundreds of messages from parents, younger girls and boys who want to be rugby players. So yeah, I think that definitely we achieved that.
Awesome. We'll go to slightly more painful stuff to start, and then sort of widen it out if that's all right. Those messages, how do they come through? Because Olympics is incredibly special. I mean, it's going 24/7 in the kitchen here at Chateau Hamo. And we just absolutely love it. The kids and all the rest of it get completely inspired. How were those messages back from home coming to you guys?
Yeah, we had lots of different things. Obviously, through our social media, we had a lot of heat, and a lot of people message us on that, but our coaches and kind of everything like that actually organised where our friends and family got to send messages in. So before our jersey presentation, we actually got to hear loads of messages from home, which was honestly amazing. And we did it 2 days before the tournament just because it was very emotional, and I think if we did the day before, it would have been even more emotional. But like the support from back here, Wales, Great Britain has honestly been like the best it's ever had, being part of a squad. So yeah, I can't thank everyone else enough for that.
Oh, brilliant. I suspect there wasn't a dry eye in the house, was there, a couple of days before
Absolutely
the Brilliant. Just take us back to that final whistle then, if you would, to the Fiji game. What was said? Who was talking? Was there not much talking? Just give us a snapshot to a disappointing end to the campaign.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. But I think going into our 3rd day, having lost to France, I think that was a massive blow to us, because I think we played them this year and we beat them. So that I think was the hardest one. And then to play Fiji, they're an unpredictable team, and they just outplayed us. So they were the better team on the day, but there wasn't much said straight after, I don't think. But I think co-captains and coaches spoke very well and just said like it was bigger than just a medal that we wanted to go out there and do. And we definitely did a lot more than that out there. But just lots of tears.
Yeah, I'm sure. And how did you guys regroup? Was it over I guess the diet's fairly strict. Was it over a McDonald's in the village, or was it over a couple of beers? What was it? Making a TikTok video? How do the girls sort of come back together? Because there's been lots of social media and lots of smiles, and the camaraderie across the countries and what have you has been there for all to see.
Yeah, it was meant to be a dry game, so there wasn't actually, you couldn't actually purchase any alcohol on the in the village, but we might have snuck out, got bikes and cycled to a shop, got a few beers. So we did that, and then we just played some games. We had kangaroo court, so people had lots of different fines. And it was just nice to kind of relax and step away from rugby type thing. And there was a lot of other athletes as well, like different sports, different countries, who was on like this grass pitch, who had somehow got beers as well. So it was an amazing experience after as well.
Oh, awesome. I'm really, really pleased. It kind of ended with a bit of a crescendo. Who was judge? Always like to know who judges on kangaroo court.
Well, our co-captains were kind of judges or team leader, but then that means that they don't actually get fined, so that's not fair. But they did have a few.
Absolutely. Let's get into the sort of details. You say that 3-day event, and I guess, I mean, I watched that USA game, and slightly tight one against the Russian Olympic Committee. I think that's the official title, isn't it? But that USA game, watched England Sevens and GB Sevens for a long time. I've not seen a more complete performance. Where did that come from? And then what were the takeaways to then take into that next day after that performance?
Oh yeah, us playing against USA was the best we've ever played as a squad. And we'd previously played USA in warm-up games, and we'd lost all of them other than one, and we drew. So I think we almost had nothing to lose going out there. People did not expect us to come through to the quarterfinals, and let alone win them. So I think a lot of us had learned individually how to be better against them as a squad, but also, like you said, it was a full team performance. Our defence was one of the best I've seen, and I think probably one of the best in the tournaments in that particular game. The USA, we just swarmed them. So and that was a big part of what we've been building over for the last 6 months, was our defence as well. So for us to put a performance in like that, I think was credit to all of us, and individually as the girls as well. It was great to be out there. It was so much fun.
And you enjoyed that hit, didn't you? I can't remember who it was on now, but an unbelievable hit from yourself. And then I think it was Abby said at the end, or it might have been Meg, that slight reputation of being slightly soft. And actually, I mean, that completely and utterly dispelled all of that. Who's driving that physicality, that drive? Because I think one of the commentators said you were almost half the size of the lady you're tackling, and yet absolutely dominated physically across the board in that game. Who's driving that? Where did that come from?
What, as an individual as me, or as in like as a squad?
Yeah, both. Yeah. Both.
Oh yeah, like well, our coach, assistant coach James Rodwell, he was a massive part in our defence throughout the tournament, and he just wanted ball back. He wanted an aggressive defence. He never wanted us to sit off. He just wanted us to just go get the ball, and that was clear to see that 100% worked for us. We just clicked as a squad, and it was awesome. But yeah, I'm always small, so I always need to kind of have good tackle technique. Otherwise, I'm just going to get pushed off. So being up against girls who are literally probably double my body weight isn't sometimes fun because it hurts. But then I've just learned to kind of get their ankles rather than go high, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you finish on a complete high against the USA. We then get into France. Take us through that match where you felt it was won and lost. Why you couldn't achieve the levels that you did against the USA that we've just been talking about.
Yeah, I think us going into that, we were super confident, not just because we thought we could beat them and we kind of didn't get complacent, but we felt confident going into a game after the performance we had against USA. So I think we were in a really good place going into it. France actually scored first, which hadn't happened to us throughout the whole of the tournament. So I don't know whether that kind of had a negative impact on us then moving forward. And then they actually scored again. So then they went like 14-0 up. And we hadn't actually experienced that throughout the tournament yet. So I don't know whether that could potentially have had an impact into us, because we were always the ones to score first. And then we came back a little bit, but yeah, to be fair to France, like they played a great game as well. We didn't step up as individuals, we didn't step up as a team in that game, especially the way we did against USA. So yeah, like credit to France, they came out firing, and unfortunately we didn't come out like we came out against USA.
Yeah, they just came from nowhere, didn't they? The French. I mean, nobody was talking about them pre-tournament, and yet so typically French. Oh, we think we'll fancy turning it on now. And then you get into the bronze medal match, which a few of you been there before. What was said before that one? Because again, Fiji been particularly impressive through the tournament. What was said before that one? Just how key was it to come away with a medal, or was it purely about just expressing yourselves fully and giving a full account of yourselves?
Yeah, it was always going to be going tough going into that bronze medal match again. 3 of us that had been there before and kind of really didn't want to be in the same position we were in Rio. But this was always going to be our hardest game. Fiji, they knocked Australia out of the quarters. They beat New Zealand prior to the games. Like, we always knew that was going to be one of our hardest games. So yeah, we just needed to kind of switch on and kind of forget us losing against France and come out firing. And fair play to Fiji, like they came out firing. We haven't played a team like Fiji in so long, so it's always tough to then go out there and take learnings from it. So yeah, it was always going to be a tough one.
I'm sorry we're going through some of the dark moments. I hope you don't mind. We are going to widen it out in a minute or so. When you're in that situation and you probably feel it slipping away, just what's going through the head at that point, Jazz?
It's tough. Yeah, really tough, because they scored first. I think they even went potentially 21-0 at one point. Yeah. So sevens is a game you can literally score within 30 seconds anyway. So it's never kind of a lost game, especially within the first half. But we just couldn't break them down. And yeah, to know that soon you were going to lose the game, yeah, is always sad. But yeah,
shame, real shame. On a personal level, I mean, a bucket full of tries. One of these sort of names to come out of the tournament. Those in the know have known what an exceptional athlete and rugby player you are for some time now. But on a personal level, you're pretty pleased to put a decent shift in. I'm sure you've had a few hours on the plane now to reflect on a personal level.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a few of us who did step up and had great tournaments. Also as a team, I think we were great. But yeah, my goal was going into the tournament was to get gold and make player or make the team of the tournament. So to have those goals and kind of achieve one of them it was always great. Obviously, probably the one I didn't want to achieve more, but on a personal level, so much enjoyment through it, and I think it's definitely from the confidence that the whole of the Team GB have done through coaches and staff. I think we have such a great culture, such a great atmosphere there, and it's easy to play well when you've got world-class players around you, and you're on the world stage stepping up, and it's where you want to be, I guess. So I like pressure. I loved it.
Great stuff. And I mean, Jasmine Joyce, double Olympian. How mad does that sound?
Yeah, mental.
It's crazy.
Not many people. Not many people can say that or even think that they're going to become that.
Yeah, unbelievable. And yes, what stories to tell. What were the big differences then, Jazz, between Rio and Tokyo? Obviously the cardboard bed situation in Tokyo rather than whatever beds you had in Rio. But just as a sort of tournament, probably outside of the sort of COVID situation, but more the sort of the village and the setup.
It is really similar. The same as like Commonwealth Games and same as different tournaments like that. It is all very similar in a sense of you're in flats with your country. You get to meet so many different athletes from different countries and different sports. So that is obviously massive to take away as well, and the whole experience of it. You just have to enjoy it. And our coach kept saying, yeah, okay, we're here to perform and get a gold medal, but we're actually also here to enjoy the whole experience of being an Olympian, and to take that in. We had about 5 days in the village before we competed, where we could take it in and then kind of switch on game day. But yeah, it's just an insane experience. The food hall is something else as well. Just so many different foods from different countries. You could literally choose whatever you wanted. We actually made our way there Saturday night after our tournament. I think it was like 4 a.m. and we were like shoving pizza and chips down our mouth. So yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights.
Brilliant. Jazz, you're a double Olympian. One of the highlights, eating pizza and chips.
Yeah, we can say that.
Of course, no, because it's such a treat. I'm sure, unbelievable to have that on the CV, the double Olympian. If we can just finally, Jazz, just widen out, and I know the coaches there, Charlie Hayter and Big Red, James Rodwell, talking about the experience and wanting to enjoy that and what have you. But have you had time? And it's probably a little too early. I wonder whether you might have spoken about it on the way home. And the word journey is massively overused, isn't it? And especially Olympics time. But it's effectively an amateur tournament, is it? So most people have been on a journey and got a story. But your story is quite incredible over the last 12, 16 months. Have you had time to reflect on just what you've achieved as a group?
I don't think so yet, but I think definitely having all the messages and support from home prior to the Olympics, but also post as well. I think it honestly is like fantastic. The amount of support we've had, where personally, like I've literally worked 5 years to go to the Olympics again. Everything I've done, not drinking, kind of not seeing friends, family. To get to the point of actually making it then is dream come true. And finally now I can rest up, 2 weeks off fully. And then I'm sure we'll get to a point where we reflect on it.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, just what it means to you. If there is ever an example in rugby of not giving up on your dreams, totally cut, totally unfunded. Nobody's got a job to raise yourselves up, you as a group of men and women, and then compete so admirably at the Olympics is quite inspirational. So, look, Jazz, we'll leave it there. But I just I've had loads of messages from people who don't often watch rugby, and it was are you watching the sevens? Loads and loads of text. So look, this is our job, isn't it? All of us in the women's game to try and grow it, and you have done not only a personal but on a team level, huge strides in doing that over the last week. So congratulations on a tremendous Olympics.
No, thanks very much. Yeah, much appreciate that.
Brilliant. And let's hope you keep your try scoring form going into the next Premier 15 season, and no doubt we'll see you very soon.
Absolutely.
Cheers, Jazz. You take care. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
What an incredible journey Team GB have been on. Of course, they would like to have come away with some metal hanging around the necks. Of course they would, but in terms of where they were, mission possible. Well, it certainly is, isn't it? Can all very much hold their heads up very, very high. That victory over the USA was a victory to hang performances on for some time to come. So, yes, they must hold their heads high and get back into some 15s and some 7s. And let's look at where that program goes now. It certainly shows it's a program with funding for the men and the women. Still to come on this mini Olympic series here on the Women's Rugby Pod, we have Sarah Hearney, the New Zealand captain and gold medal winner. But first of all, let's go to the other side of the pond. Let's go the other way around the globe and get the reaction to what was a brilliant Olympic Games in terms of the sevens for Team USA. Here's Abby Gustaitis. Abby, thank you so much for coming on to the Women's Rugby Pod. A very, very warm welcome. Awesome to have someone from the other side of the pond, and obviously someone who's had a very, very busy couple of weeks. You're in the car there, off somewhere nice.
That's the plan. Off to Mexico for a little girls' trip, holiday, post Olympics, debrief as they go.
Oh, nice. Well, you've earned the rest. You obviously just come back from Tokyo. How was it for you? How was the whole experience?
Just a roller coaster. It was unreal. To represent our country at one of the highest stages was I was just so proud to do it, and to bring the communities back home together. Like, that was really what did it for me. All the support without the fans, and that was great. The rugby, obviously things didn't go how I wanted them to, and that was a tough loss to Great Britain, but credit to them. I mean, unreal game plan they came with, and they just outplayed us, but it was disappointing to say the least. I think anyone watching knows how heartbreaking it was.
Yeah, yeah, you could certainly feel it. Well, we'll touch on the playing side in just a moment, if we may. We'll just go back to, because I suspect the USA Olympic team, it must just be a huge juggernaut of a machine in a typical sort of American type way. I mean, I saw some social media stuff of you. I mean, I guess you probably had to pack 3 or 4 more suitcases just to bring the stash back with you, didn't you?
We actually did. We all checked 4 bags back home, and it was ridiculous, to say the least. Like, crashing carts at the airport, whole hustle and bustle, but grateful, obviously. It was like Christmas for sure.
Yeah, and you were the fans. And how were they? How were they getting messages across to you? Was it sort of social media? Were there? I mean, the old days it would have been fax and what have you, but emails and what have you coming in. So there was plenty of support while you were out there.
Oh, definitely. It was almost too much to even have your phone, because anytime you would look at it, it's just influx, which is so endearing, and it makes you feel good, and you appreciate all the support women's rugby is getting and the growth it's shown. But at the same time, you're like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, how do I turn this off and get back to the game mode if that's what's needed,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. You got annoying people trying to get you on podcasts. Firing you messages as well. So no, apologies for that. Let's get into the actual Olympics itself, the opening ceremony. Probably quite strange with fans, but probably quite a different experience. Just talk us through the excitement in camp at that time.
It was. So we actually went to Mimasaka, which was 3 hours inland from Tokyo,
Okay.
for our week leading up to entering the village. And the hospitality was second to none. Like, I mean, even in the village and at the stadium, just all of the volunteers and the hosts, just so compassionate, and just so loving in every manner, like anything you needed. And they were just so thankful that the games were able to go on, as were the athletes. And so I think just from Japan putting on the Olympics, like right from the start, it
Yeah.
was such a great environment, and they did such a great job. But we ended up going to the village the Thursday before, so a week
Okay.
prior, and we went to opening ceremonies, which was unreal. I mean, I can't imagine how big it could have been with, the stadium filled, but even without. And like, we were towards the back and behind, we were right in front of France, and then, in classic American manner, everyone just starts chanting USA, and then you got the French behind us, and they're like "Allez Francais," and then they're just going back and forth, and it was a really cool thing to be a part of. And you're with everyone. You have like the NBA players down
Yeah.
to people like women's rugby who not that many people know of, and it was just really cool to interact in that manner with people from your own country that you never see or meet otherwise. And just to know that you're all on that same platform, and that they find value in it too. So it's not just you being the little person being like, oh, this is such a cool experience. Like, oh no, they think it's really cool, and like they're filled with the same amount of pride. That's why they're here and walking in it. And so that, yeah, opening ceremonies was amazing. Like, we're up until like 2 a.m, and you're just like buzzing, and then like the next day it's like a lull of like, oh wait, what are we doing again? Like,
Yeah. Why are we here?
yeah, exactly. You're just like, yeah, everyone's like yelling, and you're drenched in sweat because you've been walking around for 5 hours, and our staff's like, why is everyone's calves so tight? Why is everyone complaining they're sore? And like, we're like, sorry. But yeah, it was, the opening ceremonies was definitely one of the highs. And then we just really just dived right in, and we had maybe 2 or 3 sessions, super breezy. Just, we knew what we needed to do, and it was just kind of getting the minds right and sharpening up. And then right into game mode. But the village was cool, minus the cardboard beds. Those were real and not comfortable.
Right. Okay, check. We won't be exchanging the oak for cardboard then. No
No,
problem.
definitely not.
Then you say you jump straight into and we get into to start playing, and the pool stages. You're rocking. You're playing some really really good stuff, and then we get to GB, which I know you touched on earlier. Going into that GB game, you must have felt really really full of confidence.
We did. I mean, we went out there and we did the job that we wanted to do, going 3-0 in our pool, and then especially with that going off the back of that win of Australia, it was we were definitely connected, and we finally felt like things clicked because we beat China and Japan, but China came to play. Like, they were a strong team. Their skill set is unreal, but you expect the USA to beat them handedly, and then you'd see the Australia scores against them, and you're like, whoa, like, okay, they are putting points up. So then once we beat Australia, it was like, okay, all right, we got it, we're clicking, we're connected. And then you have that huge break, 5 hours or whatever in between games, and everyone, it's good vibes. And then it starts to rain, and then the game gets delayed 30 minutes. And we're like, okay, that's fine. We just go, we warm up. We're like, okay, will the conditions change? We're fine. We're good. Like, this is the position we put ourselves in by going 3-0. Like, Australia's playing Fiji, and Fiji were looking great. So that you would think you would want to play Great Britain, not to downplay them at all. But then they just came out from the get. I mean, we made an error in the first play of the game and gave Great Britain the ball, and they capitalized off it almost immediately. And from then, just the first, I would say, 3 minutes, Great Britain brought it, and we didn't adapt fast enough. They played 7-up D against us. We didn't ever kick it through. We just weren't able to shift our game plan to adjust to what we were seeing. And I mean, that's sevens, right? It's 14 minutes. It's, if you don't adapt fast enough, like, you're chasing that scoreboard the entire time, and that's exactly the position we found ourselves in. But the defense from Great Britain, oh my goodness, unreal. They didn't miss a tackle. I'm like, where is the space? Like, this is sevens. And
yeah. It was suffocating, wasn't it? I just wonder, because the devastation was quite clearly, and you're speaking about it with a smile on your face now, which is brilliant. But the devastation was very very clear for everyone to see. As you say, you probably think, oh, well, we've got the better side of the draw. Yeah, we've got the sort of runner up, as it were, in GB rather than Fiji. And then for them to literally blast, I don't think you got out of your 22, or certainly the back end third of your half for the first 5-6 minutes of the game. Was it almost looked shell shocked? Was that the feel, and therefore even more devastating because you possibly didn't expect it?
Yeah, I think it was like, okay, we can make this happen. But then I'm looking around, and I could just see it in my teammates, like, they're starting to lose that connection, and that it's exhausting, right? Playing defense or even playing attack and not getting anywhere. And by the time, like, we made a ton of errors on our own, let alone from all the pressure Great Britain was giving us. And we just didn't have anything left to capitalize on the little bit of space we did see. And it was a tough game, but it's, like, it's sport at the end of the day. Like, that's the position we put ourselves in. You're vulnerable to that loss and the feelings that come with it. And I think I learned so much after that. And because you just think, like, going into it, it's like, it's a medal or it's nothing. Like, and if we don't medal, then like, what was all of this for? Like, why did I spend the last 10 years of my life playing this sport? And it's like, well, because it's the best freaking thing in the world, right? Like, it's rugby. It is so incredible, and it's taught me so many things, but like, I'm just getting emotional thinking about it now. But I mean, the respect, discipline, determination, having to just get to the Olympics is obviously a feat in itself, but I still believe in our team, and it's just the sport we chose to play is sevens, and any team on the day can win any game. And I mean, I think that was shown in the other semifinal. Like, you know, bounce the ball one way, Fiji could be the gold medalists, right? Like, it's
100%.
And you know, Great Britain outplayed us, and as much as I back the girls, it wasn't our game. And you know, it wasn't like, someone even said to me, one of my teammates after was just like, I can't even be that upset because we actually just got outplayed. It wasn't like it was close and we, you know, we were playing great footy. And I was like, that sucks to hear, but it's true. And
Yeah.
I like it. It didn't even click because I was like, everyone was dealing with it differently. Like, I'm that girl just like sitting there, just like leaking. And then, you know, you have people freaking out, and then other people are just completely stoic, or we all react differently. But in the game, I just felt like we lost that like bit of connection, and we just went individual. And in sevens, when you make a mistake, you have to flush that and get right back to it, because no team out there is flawless. It's whatever team can pick their heads right back up and go again. And I think we didn't do that in the Great Britain game. We let them score, and then we're down, they score again. And it's like, we just weren't able to flush the little mistakes. And then we tried to just do it on our own, and you're not winning sevens games on your own like that. There's no hiding out there, but it's definitely going to take a little bit of team effort. And I think we just fell short in that one.
Oh, Abby, it's thank you for taking us right inside that moment, because your honesty there is really compelling stuff. And I've got loads more to ask you, but I'm very conscious you've got to catch your plane. And I mean, geez, if you miss your plane because of me, I know Corbs will be hunting me out. I know that much. But just one last question, if I may. As I say, I'd like to ask you loads more. But one last from me. Yeah, we know the sleeping giant that the USA is, and the amount of athletes. And I mean, actually, on the job hunt myself, and virtually it seems like every single university in the States is starting up a women's rugby program. I just wondered what you felt your role has been over the last month, or even 12 months. We know about the funding with the 15s and what have you, and it just what did you get out to achieve on the one perspective with relationship between sevens and USA, and how far do you think you've achieved that? Does that make sense?
I think so. I mean, I'll give you my answer, and then if it wasn't what you wanted, then you ask me again.
You'll definitely make sense. Not my question. Yeah, you carry on. No, it's just that wider perspective of what you feel what pieces you've put in the jigsaw for USA rugby, really.
Right. Okay. So there we go. We're on the same page. For me, I've had such a difficult path that was a winding road to get to the national team. It's almost luck, right? It was like, okay, the coach heard someone talk about that person, and then they spoke someone, okay, let's go check them out. And I just want to make the pathway to the national team clearer and more accessible. And I want younger players to know that we have a national team, and that there's a full-time training environment that is in Southern California, and it is the dream. So I want people to know about it. And I think the support has grown immensely, let alone with the Olympics. But just in the last year or two, there's been a lot more excitement. And obviously, the Olympics in the US is such a huge thing. Like, everyone grows up watching it. I can remember sitting on my floor watching the Summer Olympics every 4 years. And I don't want that to be just every 4 years people learn about rugby again and relearn the rules and see it for the first time in 4 years. Like, I want people watching the World Series. I want people to see a rugby ball and know what it is. I don't want people asking, is that the sport with the sticks? You know, like, it's such a great game. I've never met someone who turns on a rugby game and like, oh no, that's not for me. Like, oh, this is boring. Oh, what are they doing? It's like, yeah, it's complicated, but it's exciting. And there's so much that goes into it. And the athleticism required to play it is unreal. And so I just want more girls playing this sport, because I think a lot of times parents have this negative connotation with it as well. Like, oh, it's super physical. Like, are there concussions? Is it safe? And like, it's all taught in that. And I just want to say, yes, you can play too. Like, yes, your daughter can play rugby. It doesn't matter. It's whatever size she is, her age. And that goes for boys as well. But it's so much more accepted. And I hate when people relate it that it's a man's sport, and there's that common saying like, oh, it's a gentleman's game, but it's for women too. And it's so empowering, and it's the best community I've ever been a part of. I just feel so like strong and capable surrounded by my teammates, and I feel nothing but uplifted and encouraged in every way. And it's just so welcoming, and I just want more people to be a part of it, and I want girls to know that they can play this at the highest level.
And was that those feelings you've expressed there so eloquently? Were they massively heightened with the Olympic journey that you've just been on?
Oh, huge. And like, the more outreach that we can do, like, we try to go to local programs and just to get it out there. And it's with the Olympic buildup, it's getting more coverage than ever. And people are so excited. And, when are you guys playing next? Like, oh, when is this? And I love the support, but I want there to be like, what's going to happen to keep the sport growing. Like, we don't just want to watch the best compete. Like, we don't want that gap to continue to grow, because that is a big thing in the States. It's, you have the national team and then it drops down to club level, and we need to continue to build and develop these players and the skill sets in order to keep our program strong for the next few generations.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, look, Abby, it's as I say, I could talk to you for hours, and I think there's a second episode there to tell us more about the USA Rugby and how things are going. But look, France is not far away. Can we expect to see you going for a medal in a couple of years' time?
I have my eyes on the Sevens World Cup, and then we can do a recap and
then we'll see
how I'm aging.
With great class as you continue to do so. Look, I would say, thank you so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. Go and have an awesome time in Mexico. Don't drink too many worms. And regards to your corpse. And yeah, as I say, once again, thanks so much for coming on. It's been brilliant.
Absolute pleasure. Happy to be here, and definitely we'll catch up again soon.
Take care. Have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Cheers, Abby. Bye. Well, brilliant to hear from Abby from the other side of the pond, just getting her on way to a flight. Really appreciate her taking the time, and just to hear her speak so eloquently and emotionally. There's a lot of emotion on the pod today. I think we expected that post-Olympics, whether you picked up the right medal or any medal at all. But these athletes really do put in a huge amount of sacrifice, personal sacrifice, whether that be team or money or time away from family, away from friends. And anyone who's Olympian should be very, very proud of themselves to get to that level of their respective sports. Truly, truly incredible. We've got Sarah Hirini just moments away now for you, the New Zealand captain. She speaks absolutely superbly of what motivated her and the New Zealand side, because they didn't have it all their own way over in Tokyo, but she's come out in just a moment or two. But the Women's Rugby Pod today is brought to you by Veo. Have you heard of Veo? It is a sports camera that you can film rugby matches on without the need for a camera operator. That's right. It uses two 4K lenses to capture 180 degrees to make sure you don't miss a moment of the action. Saracens, whilst they're using the cameras last season, and it's of course not just for elite sport, this is a bridge between the grassroots and elite sport with this state-of-the-art camera technology, making it easy and accessible for everyone to use, so that every big team or small can watch themselves play and develop and level up. And it really is a perfect coaching tool. It's portable. It attaches to a tripod, which means you can set up anywhere without any need for internet or mains connection. And you do know what the best bit is, do you? On Veo are going to give the Women's Rugby Pod £100. Yes, that's £100 off the camera by using the discount code WRP100. So that's WRP, the number 100. To get £100 off your very own Veo camera. It really is a game changer, this, to watch your own rugby back at any level of the game is only a good thing. So just visit veo.co. That's VEO.co. Well, as we promised, an interview I so thoroughly enjoyed. The New Zealand captain, their flag bearer. The lady has had an unbelievable couple of weeks to be the captain and to win a gold medal outside of the flag bearing and all the rest. She tells us all about it now. I'll stop waffling on. Here's Sarah Hirini. So it is a unbelievably special, huge welcome to... I mean, the intro, where do we go with? We go with Olympian to start with. Double Olympian, silver medalist last time out, now gold medal winner. Not only that, captain and flag bearer for New Zealand, Sarah Hirini. Hello, how are you? How's your hotel room?
Hey mate, how's it going? I'm pretty buzzing on life at the moment and enjoying my hotel room, being able to relax and have some time to myself. It's brilliant.
Huge congratulations. What's the initial feeling? Because as you say, you're into quarantine back home there, and plenty of time with just you and your medal cuddling up on the bed there, but some time for some self-reflection. What's the overriding feeling?
Just pure happiness, and not just because we won, but because it's been a really long 5 years. It's been a pretty tough 5 months, and like the happiness comes from seeing the joy you get when you ring your family, and they're just really proud of how we've gone. And obviously having a gold medal is extremely, like, it helps that, and it's put a big for me, an emotional part of my family. And I can't even put into words. It's just a really nice feeling.
You don't chance have the medal to hand, do you?
Definitely doesn't leave my side at the moment.
We can't go too far, can it, Lee, in the hotel room? Look, there it is. For those of you listening on the podcast and not listening, watching the YouTube channel, yes, Sarah is just showing us. It looks weighty as well.
It's so heavy.
It looks heavy. Is it?
Yeah, I've heard someone weighed theirs and it's like over 600 grams or something.
My word.
Which is pretty heavy when it's hanging around your neck.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, just have you got plans for that? Is it going to go up on the wall somewhere? Keep it in the top drawer? What? You're not giving that a thought yet?
Like when I get home, I'll say it'll be passed around my family for a month or so. like I'm going to share it with anyone and everyone who's helped me. I'm pretty keen to do that. So I probably won't even see it for a little while, and not out of respect for it, just more because I want to share it with the people who've helped me. So it'll be traveling around New Zealand, I'm sure.
So it's something I wanted to sort of pick up on slightly later on, and we've got lots to talk about. But you were use that word family, and we've spoken before on here, and it's something it's just comes through incredibly clearly with you, and you talk about your teammates as sisters, and a huge amount of love for them. Is that where the drive and the desire comes from? Because as you say, it's been a long old 5 years, and does that make it even more special? The fact that you are so close to not only those players, but your home family, you're doing it.
Yeah, I think so. Like I love rugby. I love playing it. I have a real passion for it. And I'm driven to win things. Like as a family, we were a pretty competitive bunch, and I can remember as a kid, if you won something, my dad would give us like $5 to go spend at the $2 shop or whatever. So, like, I think that's where I got my drive to be real competitive and to want to succeed. And then not being able to do that on the world stage, and my family being that supportive of me, when you succeed or even when you don't, they're still there. Like they're always right behind me, supporting me, always sending me messages. And then I think that's why our team's so close as well, is because we've got such loving families. When we travel, we become our own family and we look after each other. And yeah, it's been 2 months on the road with each other, and like I can honestly say I haven't got sick of them. Well, now I'm by myself, so it's all right. But
And I mean, I hope that gave you more than $5 for winning the Olympic gold.
we had a good discussion about it. Yeah, but he's potentially going to pay for my Olympic ring tattoo, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Ah, there you go then.
Which
There
would
you
be
go.
pretty cool.
Who was the first person you spoke to post sort of getting in the change rooms or whatever? Obviously, no crowd or no fans, which is a real shame. I suspect there would have been plenty of fans there. But who got on the phone first? Who did you share that moment with outside of your teammates?
I rang my husband first, and like, I was so excited to get back to my phone just so I could talk to my family. They were all over New Zealand, so it was real difficult to try and communicate with them all. But yeah, rang my husband, and he was at our house in Papamoa with his family and our friends, and like the room just went nuts. He was waiting for the call, and yeah, that was a pretty special moment. And I think the other one was ringing my dad, and like going for a tough time at the moment, seeing him smile for the first time in 5 months was like, it just made me really, like, I started crying seeing that. And he was with his couple of good friends, and then all my mum's sisters, and at my sister's house. And yeah, so those 2 phone calls were pretty special for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you're doing it for even more special reason, and somebody looking down from on high. And I know you put mum on the boots there. Yeah, having been lost a parent early in my life, I know what a motivation that can be. Just how special was it to do it for mum?
Yeah, really special. She's watched me win every other pinnacle event. She's come to so many games, and like she didn't have a lot of money, but just made it work. And I like really appreciated her coming and turning up. And yeah, this was probably the first one she hasn't seen me physically win, but like I knew she was there, and I know she was looking after us in some of those games. So yeah, pretty happy with that.
But yeah, I mean it's a nice little segue, that, isn't it? Because in a couple of those games, let's move it to on the field stuff. Look, I know she will be incredibly proud, as I'm sure all your family is. But you need a bit of looking after in those games. Let's go back to the GB game. Were you surprised at just how out of the traps GB came?
No, I was not surprised. Like
Okay.
they're a really, really good team, and I'd watched the way that they were training as a group, and like they had a lot to fight for. The amount of stuff they had to go through just to get there was like I'm really proud of them, and I know they'll be disappointed with how they went, but seeing them actually turn up and the way that they performed wasn't surprising, but yeah, it was amazing to see. And yeah, when you get 3 tries down or 21 points down against a team like that, you kind of start questioning. But I knew as soon as we got the ball, like we just needed the ball to convert points. And once you get an opportunity like that, and we scored a couple of tries before the half, I was like we'll be okay. But yeah, it's not easy, and I know our families weren't too happy with that.
So you come through that, beginning to sort of grow through the tournament, and then that semi-final, which those in the know would know that the Fiji program is a proper program, and they've got some serious players. So it wasn't much of a shock for those in the know to do them so well. But that was a tight one, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably a little bit tighter than what we'd hoped for or wanted in a semi, but like same kind of thing. We knew Fiji were good. They tested us against while we played in Australia a month before that, and they actually went 14 points up against us. So we knew they were really good, and they'd worked a lot on their set piece. They were the fittest I've ever seen them play, and when a Fiji team's fit, they're a really, really hard team because everything for them is just going forward. And you watch some of Sevens teams, like for us, we sometimes go backwards to go forwards, but everything is about going forward, and that's a really hard thing to stop. So yeah, we probably put ourselves in a position to have to go to Golden Point. We could have sealed that game off a little bit earlier on, but that's just the nature of Sevens. And yeah, I'm pretty grateful for a person like Gail Borden who can go through 5 people to score a try in Golden Point.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you get to the final, and are you surprised, as quite a lot of us, to see the French opposite you there? Did it matter at that point? We're just going to go out and win it. I want that gold. I want that bit of chocolate money on the ribbon. Or would you like to have had Australia, or did it just not matter?
Oh, to me, it doesn't matter at that point. Like, we probably thought we would play a USA and an Australia in the tournament, at least at some stage in the tournament. But like, I was pretty stoked for France. They only qualified a month before the Olympics, and to me, that probably showed that the time they spent to get to that point gave them such an advantage leading in. Like, no one had really played, but they had played tournaments to get to the Olympics. So yeah, we've had some good battles for France, and we played them obviously in the 2018 Sevens Rugby World Cup. So it was a nice another battle against them. But at that point in the tournament, like, we had been in Rio and made the final, and I remember thinking before the final, like, yes, I'm really happy we're going to get a medal. And then we got a medal, and I wasn't happy, and I'm like, well, I need to change my thought. Like, oh, we're going to the final to win gold, and that's what's going to happen.
Because I know Ruby Tears put a little post and said, "Oh, what drives you over the last 5 years to get up and in those dark days and the raining training days," and she's just said in a typical Ruby way, just said, "Well, have you ever won silver at an Olympics?" Is that it's that outside of the family pieces, been the motivation for the 5 years? Yeah, as you say, lovely to get a silver, but you know what? We can actually win gold.
Yeah, that's been a motivator because, like, our team had stuff going on in Rio and whatnot, but like, we were a good enough team to win, and we didn't.
Yeah.
And Aussie beat us, and we had a very similar team leading in, and a couple of awesome young girls for this tournament. So like, we had enough people to the whole squad like knew for the whole time that that's what the goal was, and to be honest, it was the one thing that we don't have as a team. So
yeah,
it was. And I know that because you want it and you dedicate your life to it doesn't mean it's going to happen. I know that. But like, we had 4 of the best sevens players in the world, like actually named, and then you could probably name a couple others. So it was ours to lose. I actually think.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you. When when the squad was announced on paper, it's yeah, you're a brave man to bet against you. I'm just delighted because there's so many great characters there. Quite a few of you we've had on the pod. It'd be Ruby or Stacey and all the rest of it, and that sisterhood. But within that sisterhood, and you do lots of bits and pieces. Whether it's the younger girls doing their TikTok, is that what it's called? I've got no idea, Sarah. It's
I think so.
well beyond me, but it seems there's lots of smiles on faces, and as you as captain, you must drive that kind of thing. Is that really conscious?
I'm lucky. I'm in a team that like they want to drive it themselves. Like we've got a culture group, and then we've got another group who runs social stuff. So, and that's run by some of the leaders, but also a lot of the younger girls. And yeah, that we've kind of created this culture. For us, it's about them being genuine people, but without them buying in and actually leading it themselves, it's pretty hard. So, being lucky, these young girls come in and want to be a part of it and really want to, for them, stamp their mark. So, the last 2 months being away has absolutely flown by because of the characters we have in our team. You mentioned TikToks. Excuse me. They absolutely just flow. Their personality flows through their social media, and I think that's really important for us. Like you want to have a good time when you're working really hard like that. So yeah, we have a lot of characters who will switch on and off when we need to.
Nice, yeah, absolutely, and those characters sort of combine on the field, don't they, with the different skills and attributes. If I just reel it back to opening ceremony, and I mean, an honour to lead your country in your chosen sport, but to lead your country into an Olympic Games, I mean, just how special was that?
Oh, like probably one of the most coolest things that I've ever done in my life. Like, and it was made special by being cloaked. So obviously you get a korowai to wear a cloak, and that's been passed down through all the opening ceremonies. So to get that in New Zealand was really special, and it doesn't happen very often. But because of COVID, I got it given to me. My family were able to come. My whole team were there, and we got it done at the training base. So that was special. And then there was a time where I might not even have made the opening ceremony because of flights and stuff like that. And my management team pretty much stayed up all night to make sure I got there. So I'm really grateful for that. And then just the walking down honestly felt like it took 3 seconds because it went so quickly. But it would be one of I don't think anything in life would be able to top that. It was amazing, and similar kind of thing. Like it was awesome to be able to feel the love and support. Yeah, there's not much more to say than that. It's just it was a very special moment.
How did you find out?
I just got a call from our chief commissioner, Rob Waddell. He rang me. We were just at training one day, and it was just before a meeting. Got a phone call from a random number, which I don't actually normally answer. And that day I did, and then he just asked if I wanted to be the flag bearer, and I just cried. I didn't actually say anything back to him. I just cried, listened to him, hung up the phone, and then thought, "Oh my god, I didn't even say anything."
I didn't actually say yes, I could do it. Oh, but look, I think for lots of reasons, whether it be not probably in New Zealand so much, but actually around the world to have rugby, a rugby player lead out the nation, I think is significant. I think the fact that it's yourself as a female is significant. Those things aren't lost on you in the wider picture.
Yeah, no, that's really special. And I'm the first Māori woman to lead out my country. So for me, that is probably the most special thing about it.
Wow. Oh my goodness, Sarah. I mean, you have had the most unbelievable few weeks, haven't you? Absolutely
I
weird.
know,
I mean,
I'm like,
where do you go from here?
I don't know. I'm only 28. I feel like I've got so much of my life to live. So I'm like, wow, that's 28 years and I've got a pretty good life ahead of me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll have to move down to the second and third drawers now because you've emptied the top, and you'll have to just discover what's in there. So I just want to go back because we kind of touched on it, but not a huge amount, and then I'll let you go and get your head down, and we hugely appreciate your time today. But that final whistle goes, and you're finally Olympic champion. Just take us through that next sort of hour and a half, not blow by blow or drink by drink, or trophy lift by trophy lift, but just the emotions and how you as a team embrace that moment of finally achieving what you wanted to achieve.
There's a really cool clip that I reckon sums it up. I think Sky Sport put a montage together of like the initial faces straight after the game, and we're all like sobbing, smiling, and it pretty much sums up the next hour of of getting the medal and the ceremony and stuff like that. And there was just so much emotion, like straight after the whistle. It's just like there's like that bit of relief to think, holy, our plan worked and we actually did it. Geez, all those trainings worked, and then just pure joy. And like, there's so much hugging and embracing and heaps of photos, and not just the players but the management team as well, because like everyone does for the Olympics, you give up your life for little moments like that, and for us to be able to really take that moment and get that moment on the pinnacle stage was, yeah, I think it's a pretty hard thing to actually explain and put into words. It's just an ultimate experience, and something that was really amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. And France isn't too far away now. 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think? I mean, it's very early days. The dust has hardly settled. We're still polishing the medal furiously. I would have thought. Have anyone made any decisions about moving on? Do you think you have a reasonable amount of that core squad still going into France?
I haven't heard anyone wanting to move on at this stage. Everyone's pretty much been talking about that they're aiming for Paris 2024. So, yeah, if we can all stay together, it'll be a powerful squad in 3 more years as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you're up to France for some autumn 15s games, and then a 15s World Cup. You win that, you can lead the team out there. Oh, stop it, Sarah. Some people are just too successful.
I'm pretty spoiled, all right? It's like, yeah, life's
Yeah,
really
no,
good at the moment, mate.
I'm absolutely chuffed for you. Yeah, I said earlier, your sense of family and doing it for those and in and around you is palpable, and yeah, so it's very close to my heart. So I very much identify, and I'm just absolutely delighted for you. As a group, you're great to watch on and off the field, and it's always great to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your thoughts, and a huge congratulations once again.
No, all good. Thank you guys for having me on the pod and for what you guys do for women's rugby. We really appreciate it.
Oh, great stuff. You take care, and we'll catch up soon.
Cool. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Was it brilliant to hear from Sarah? I hope you enjoyed the chat as much as I did. To get a little snapshot into that amazing Olympic world, it was just fascinating for me. The flag bearer, a prouder moment for a sportsman or sportswoman for their country. I wouldn't have thought leading the side into the Olympics and then to lead her team to gold, and doing it for people watching now and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's brilliant. There's very, very good ambassador for the game. But that about wraps up this second part of the mini Olympic series here on the WRP. It does just leave me to say a huge, huge thank you to Jazz, Joyce, to Gustaitis, and to Sarah Hearing. Of course, all in very different situations, hotel rooms or cars on the way to airports. But I really, really appreciate them. Not an easy week for any of them to give up their time. So we really, really appreciate that. And the union's helping us out. Really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much to the team behind this ugly mug on the WRP, to Sean, to Tom, and to Harry. Big up to you guys. And I must just tell you, keep an eye on our social media, because we've got a really, really exciting competition coming up for you and your club. So we're not only providing analysis tools with VO, I'll get onto their website for your £100 discount, but we're also, with this competition, doing something else for your club. I'm not going to tell you anymore, but it's with a collaboration which you're really enjoying working with guys, similar sort of ethos to our approach to things as well. So keep an eye on our socials. Where are those socials? I hear you say, of course, as ever, at Pod Women's Rugby. That's at Pod Women's Rugby. And don't forget, of course, you can get yourself some WRP stash if you so wish. hallbro.com/WRP. That's hallbro.com/WRP. There's some good stuff on there. Beanies, hats, and training vests and leggings and all the rest of it. Female fitted stuff, of course. Well done, Adidas, for finally doing that for the Blackburns. We'll be back in just a matter of weeks. The fixtures announced over here in England for the for the Women's League, for the Alliance Premier 15 out the week. So we will set up in a few weeks' time. Until then, stay safe. And thank you so much for listening.
It just gives another viewpoint that can't be argued with. It's high, which gives another element, and it doesn't need attention while it's running, has been the major thing for us.
I mean, it's hard to put into words how it's improved my role and how I'm able to work. As a time management tool alone, it's freed up, I'd estimate, at least 10 hours in my week. The players have bought into it. The first time they saw the footage was like, oh my God, this is opening up a whole new element to what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve.